Hi, this is Lucia with Yard of Love, and this week I'm going to have to show some tough love, and I'm hoping that it's going to be helpful to people that listen to this so that they don't put themselves in the same predicament. So the email says, I just broke up with my ex of almost 2 years. I'm 48 and he's 44. I moved to a state to be with him. I let go of my job and my apartment just to be with him and stop the long-distance relationship. So there was your first mistake. If you've listened to me before, you know I say as a woman, you do not move to another state to live with someone unless you're engaged, especially if you're 48. You want to do it when you're 21, 25, or even if you're late 20s and you're not really interested in marriage, you're more career focused, fine, move away. But at 48, you can't be giving up your job and your apartment to move in with someone that you're not engaged to. Continuing on, she said, it wasn't that far, about an hour and 40 minutes, but I still didn't like all the driving around, especially after getting out of work. I was pretty tired and I had to drive to him. So when I heard this, I thought, what? Why is she driving to him? And I asked her, how often did he drive to you? And she said, well, the whole time he only drove to me 6 times because I have a roommate and it was uncomfortable for him to be there, so I suggested that I drive to him. And there is another huge mistake. When you do that, you become masculine energy. When you do the driving, when you go to the guy, there's such a thing as polarity. There's male energy and female energy, and I will definitely do a podcast about this at a later time. But he's the male energy, and now you're driving to him. Now you're the male energy. Now we have 2 male energies dating. And you can see later what happens. And also an hour and 40 minutes, that's really not that long. You know, he's not like he's 5 hours away. And I don't know how often you were going. You said you were tired after work, so don't go after work. Go on the weekend when you're not working. Okay, continuing on. I was having trouble getting a decent job, and on Sunday night, so she moved there without even a job. And that's twice as bad. Okay, Sunday night, I told him I was coming back to my town, and I wanted him to move with me and make things easier for both of us. He said no, that he was not going to quit and leave town. Exactly. Because he's a man, and you can't tell a man, an alpha male, to quit his job and just follow you. When you try to interfere with a man's work, that's when trouble begins. You cannot come between a man and his work. You cannot tell a man to quit his job. It's up to him if he wants to follow you, to volunteer to quit and follow you. But you can't tell him to quit his job and follow you. I got very upset and I told him why not. Well, for the very reasons I just told you. She said, I did it for you when I moved here. Well, just because you jumped off a bridge, it doesn't mean he should jump off a bridge too. You should never have moved there in the first place. I asked him, are you in love with me? And at first he said no. And when I was getting ready to leave the room, he stopped me and told me that he was joking. I got very upset and I told him, again, do you love me? And he said, I do, but not a lot. I felt like I was talking to a child, and again I asked for the 3rd time, well, I guess 3rd time's a charm, the same question, and his answer was no. Now, I've gotten a lot of emails recently where there's a breakup and the woman asks, do you love me? Stop asking that. That's such a stupid question to ask. If someone loves you, you know it, and if they don't, you know it. If you don't know what the answer is no. And you're asking that because I believe you want him to say yes, and then when he says yes, then you'll say, then why won't you move with me? So you're trying to get into a circular argument. And the answer was no 2 out of 3 times, so I guess the answer is no. Continuing on, that was it for me. I broke up with him, and now I'm in my town. It's only been 3 days, and he already sent his ex-wife a friend request on Facebook, and she accepted it. I'm crying my eyes out and I'm steaming mad because I can't believe it's only been 3 days and he did that. Well, he might be looking for comfort, possibly because he misses you, and so he wants to connect with someone he knows probably cares about him. That might be one of the reasons. It might not necessarily be for the reason that you think, which is to get back with her, and that's why you're steaming mad. I'm about to call him and say a lot of not very nice words. I don't know if I can stop myself from calling him and going ballistic on him. Well, you broke up with him, so he's free to do what he wants. And going ballistic on him, that's just your frustration at yourself that the situation didn't work out, and it's also a form of manipulation. But it's a very unevolved way to get things done because you're trying to control him through anger. And a lot of people do that. When they get upset, they're trying to control the other person through anger. And someone who's more evolved is not going to fall for that. Okay, she said, I can't deal with my heart being so broken. I don't know what to do with all this anger I'm feeling right now. I feel like I'm suffocating with all these bad feelings inside of me. I understand. I've been there. I think everyone listening has been there. The anger is with yourself. I know you think it's with him. It's with yourself because it didn't work out, but you shot yourself in the foot time and time again. You can't really blame him. I don't see him doing anything wrong in this scenario, especially because you told me that you were the one that suggested you always go to him, drive to him. Otherwise, he had been willing to come to see you. And maybe you were trying to speed things along, move things along, but you have to take a step back and look at your actions and think them out a little more before just picking up and leaving town and leaving your apartment and leaving your job at 48 years old to be with someone that you're not engaged to. And then it doesn't work out job-wise, so now you're trying to force him to come back with you. You can't force people to do what they don't want to do. You can't control people. That's not how relationships work, at least if you want them to last. So I think that you should take a step back to look at how you make decisions and do not contact him. See what happens, and possibly or probably he will contact you in the future, but you cannot move back there and you cannot force him to move to you. So you guys need to figure it out. Either you continue to see each other as is with the distance, or you move on and you find someone else. So I know this has probably been hard to hear, but I'm not one to sugarcoat. I need to tell you the truth of what's going on so you can deal with it and do better next time. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, please be sure to rate the podcast and also review it. If you have any questions or comments, or you would like private coaching, you can contact me at my website, theartoflove.net, and be sure to use the contact form on that page, and do not email me directly, as your email may go into the spam folder. And until next time, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.